The rain-slicked streets of Chicago shimmered under a gray October sky, a labyrinth of puddles catching the city's neon pulse. Marcus Richardson, 41, stepped out of his sleek black sedan, adjusting the lapels of his tailored navy suit. His briefcase swung lightly in his hand, a familiar weight for a man who'd built Richardson Holdings from a scrappy investment firm into a billion-dollar empire. Success had draped him in wealth, respect, and power, but lately, a gnawing emptiness shadowed his victories. The recent death of his mentor, a man who taught him grit and grace, had left Marcus questioning the worth of it all. What was the point of climbing so high if the view felt so hollow? As he strode toward his glass-towered office in the heart of downtown, his polished shoes splashed through the wet streets. His mind churned with thoughts of boardrooms and deals, but something caught his eye, a young woman sitting on the damp steps of a boarded-up storefront. She was no older than 22, her shoulder-length brown hair framing a face that bore the quiet weight of hardship. Her clothes were threadbare, patched together from thrift stores and necessity, yet she sat with a stillness that radiated dignity. Unlike others Marcus had passed in the city's underbelly, she didn't beg or call out. She simply existed, her presence a soft defiance against the cold morning. Marcus slowed, his gaze lingering. There was something about her, a spark of resilience that reminded him of his mother, who'd raised him alone after his father walked out when Marcus was just 7. That same unyielding spirit, that refusal to break, glowed in this stranger. Her name was Elena Vasquez, though Marcus didn't know it yet. At 22, Elena had been navigating the streets for 3 months, a casualty of aging out of foster care with no safety net. But even in her struggle, she clung to hope, to the belief that kindness outshone circumstance. Once, she dreamed of becoming a teacher, inspired by a high school mentor who saw her potential. College, though, was a distant star, unreachable without money or family to lean on. Now, her days were spent scouring the city for work, any work, while staying invisible in a world that could be cruel to those who didn't blend in. Marcus paused mid-step, an idea sparking in his mind. He'd hired countless employees over the years, polished resumes, Ivy League degrees, rehearsed charm. But he'd grown weary of facades, cynical about who could be trusted when temptation dangled. This young woman, with her quiet strength, felt like a puzzle he needed to solve. Turning back, he approached her, his shadow falling across the steps. Elena looked up, bracing for the usual dismissal, "Move along, you don't belong here." Instead, Marcus crouched to meet her gaze, his voice warm but steady. "Excuse me, miss. Are you okay?" Elena blinked, caught off guard by his tone. Most people ignored her or eyed her with suspicion, as if her existence was a blemish on their day. This man, dressed like he owned half the city, spoke to her like she was someone who mattered. "I'm managing, sir," she said softly, her voice carrying a clarity that surprised those who judged her by her clothes. "Just trying to stay dry until the rain lets up." Marcus studied her, noting the intelligence in her green eyes, the way she held his gaze without flinching. She hadn't been crushed by her circumstances, and that alone set her apart. "What's your name?" he asked. "Elena," she replied, curiosity flickering. Where was this going? "Elena, I have a proposition for you," Marcus said, reaching into his wallet. "It's a little unusual, but hear me out." He pulled out a sleek black card, an American Express Centurion, the kind that whispered unlimited wealth. Elena's breath caught. She'd seen cards like it in glossy ads, symbols of a world so far from hers it might as well be another planet. "This card has no limit," Marcus continued, holding it out. "You could buy anything, food, clothes, a hotel suite, a laptop, whatever you want. I'm giving it to you for 24 hours. Elena stared, her fingers hovering but not touching. "Why would you do that? You don't even know me." Marcus smiled at her caution, a rare sincerity in his eyes. "Call it a test of character. I'm curious what someone does with unlimited opportunity. Will you take it?" After a beat, Elena accepted the card, handling it like it might shatter. "What's the catch? What do you want from me?" Nothing, Marcus said, standing and brushing off his suit. Use it however you see fit. I'll meet you here tomorrow, same time, to pick it up. Just keep receipts for everything. With that, he walked away, leaving Elena on the steps, holding more power than she'd ever imagined. As Marcus disappeared into his office tower, a thrill of curiosity buzzed through him. What would she do? Elena, meanwhile, sat frozen, the card heavy in her hand. For nearly an hour, she stared at it, her mind racing. She could buy a warm coat, a week in a hotel, enough food to feel full for once. A phone to apply for jobs, a laptop to chase her old dream of education. But as she thought of the stranger's trust, a deeper responsibility settled in. He'd seen her, not her situation, but her, and that felt heavier than the card itself. Her first stop was a corner store, where she bought a breakfast sandwich and steaming coffee for $8.47. It was a small act, but the warmth in her hands felt like a luxury. As she ate, she noticed an elderly man rummaging through a trash can, his thin jacket no match for the biting cold. His name was Robert, though she didn't know it yet. Without hesitation, she approached. "Excuse me, sir. Would you like some breakfast? I'd love to get you something warm." Robert looked up, startled. "That's kind of you, miss, but I can't take charity from someone who's struggling too." Elena smiled, her voice gentle but firm. "Sometimes we all need help, and sometimes we all have something to give. Let me do this." She bought him a hot meal, coffee, and a pair of clearance rack gloves for $32. Robert's gratitude warmed her more than the coffee had. All day, Elena moved through the city with purpose. She bought lunch for a mother and her 2 kids, shivering at a bus stop. She paid for groceries for an elderly woman short on cash at the checkout. Warm socks went to others on the streets, each act a ripple of kindness. By nightfall, she'd spent less than $300, every dollar for someone else. She found shelter in a 24-hour laundromat, guarding the card while helping a young mother fold clothes. It wasn't about the money, it was about the trust. The next morning, Elena waited on the steps, the card and a stack of receipts in hand. Marcus arrived, his curiosity now a quiet awe. "How'd it go?" he asked. Elena handed him the card, her voice steady. "I hope I used it in a way that makes you proud." Marcus flipped through the receipts, meals for strangers, clothes for kids, medicine for a sick man. His eyebrows rose. "You didn't buy anything for yourself," he said, his voice tinged with wonder. "I got breakfast," Elena said with a shy smile. "But I kept seeing people who needed it more. I hope that's okay." Marcus stood silent, the weight of her choices sinking in. In his world, people sold their principles for far less. Yet Elena, with every reason to prioritize herself, had chosen others. "Elena," he said finally, "I need to ask you something. How would you feel about working for me?" Her brow furrowed. "Sir, I don't have any business experience. I wouldn't know where to start." Marcus chuckled, thinking of the executives he'd hired, their degrees meaningless without integrity. "Elena, I run a company making million-dollar decisions. The most valuable skill isn't a degree, it's character. You proved that yesterday, in spades." He met her eyes. "I'm offering you a job at Richardson Holdings. Administrative work to start, with full tuition assistance for college, health benefits, and a salary to build a stable life." Tears pricked Elena's eyes. "Are you serious?" "Dead serious," Marcus said. "You had unlimited power and used it to lift others up. That's the kind of person I want on my team." 6 months later, Elena was thriving at Richardson Holdings, juggling daytime work and evening business classes. Marcus had launched the Elena Foundation, a charity to help the homeless find housing and jobs, with Elena as its director. Her empathy and experience shaped programs that changed lives. The black card test became a legend at the company, a reminder that true value wasn't in resumes but in choices made when no one was watching. Marcus often thought back to that rainy morning, when a whim led him to Elena, a woman whose integrity rekindled his own sense of purpose. Elena kept a replica of the black card in her office, not as a trophy of wealth, but as a reminder. The truest test of character comes when you have everything to gain and still choose what's right. Years later, when asked about her success, Elena would share the story of a stranger's trust and how it taught her that real wealth isn't what you take, it's what you give. If this story of heart, integrity, and unexpected kindness moved you, check out more inspiring tales on my YouTube channel, Midnight Tales. Like this video, share it with someone who believes in doing good, and subscribe for stories that celebrate the spark of humanity. Drop a comment below, tell me about a time someone's trust brought out your best or when you saw character shine in surprising places. Every day, we face our own tests of character. Those choices don't just shape our success, they define who we are.